Okay, we are rolling. Thank you. It's all yours, Judge Kraft.
This is Chairman Kraft calling the meeting to order. Would you call the roll, please?
Absolutely. Today is Friday, September the 2nd, and we are starting the meeting for the Private Probation Service Council. I will do a roll call. We are having the meeting with one board member present. Myself and the attorney and the office administrator is here, and we will have everyone else through roll call. Judge Chris Kraft.
All right. Present.
Judge, Judge Klein Lauterbach.
Present.
Judge John Hudson.
Present.
Mr. Stansel Ford.
Present.
Mr. David Nemo.
Present.
And that gives us the 5 that are present. We have not in attendance or by phone today Judge Hugh Harvey and Miss Linda Byford.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Yes, sir.
Statement of necessity according to TCA 844-108B2. The physical quorum is not present at the location of a meeting of a governing body. The governing body must file such determination of necessity, including the recitation of the facts and circumstances on which it was based, with the Office of Secretary of State no later than 2 working days after the meeting. Furthermore, TCA 844-108A3 defines necessity as matters to be considered by the governing body at that meeting require timely action by the body, that physical presence by a quorum of the members is not practical within the period of time requiring action, and that participation by a quorum of the members by electronic or other means of communication is necessary. This is the regularly scheduled meeting for the Private Probation Services Council. The purpose of today's meeting with some members attending by teleconference is to discuss the agenda as noticed on the website earlier, and it's my feeling that we could not wait until the next meeting to have a quorum, so therefore by necessity we're having the meeting using telephone. As far as the agenda, have all members received the agenda?
Yes. Yes.
Do I hear a motion to adopt it?
So moved, Mr. Chairman. I second it. Stansel forward. Judge
All right,
Lauterbach seconds.
Would you call the roll on the vote, please?
Yes, absolutely. The roll to approve the agenda, Judge Chris Kraft.
Aye.
Judge Klein Lauterbach.
Aye.
Judge John Hudson.
Aye.
Mr. Stanford Ford.
Aye.
Mr. David Nemo.
Aye.
All motions have been approved.
Thank you. You've all received the minutes of the June 3rd meeting. Does anyone need any extra time to review them? All right. Do I hear a motion to adopt the minutes?
I have an issue, sir.
Oh, you do? All right, sir.
I wasn't there. This is John Hudson.
We're giving you credit for a meeting you did not attend.
I did not attend.
All right. With that correction, is there any other? Well, you don't know if you were there because you weren't there, but I understand.
But it shows him seconding a motion, so we have to figure out who that was.
All right.
No, I most definitely was not there.
On the legal report, both motions to adopt the recommendation, the motion was made by me, and it shows Judge Hudson being the second, but it must have been somebody else. So.
And we will look into that. We'll be able to watch the video and listen in and see where that mistake was made. So thank you so much for pointing out that correction. I appreciate it.
All right. Shall we delay the adoption of those minutes until the next meeting?
I think we can go ahead and accept them with our amendment, and then they'll be posted on the website in case there's any change that would need to be made, but we'll make sure to capture those if you're okay with that, Judge.
All right. Well, do I hear a motion to adopt the minutes as they will be corrected?
I move that we adopt the minutes as they are corrected by inserting the proper name of the person who had seconded those motions.
All right. That's Judge Lauterbach. Is there a second?
Second that motion. This is Stansel forward.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Call the roll on the vote, please.
Thank you. Judge Chris Kraft.
Aye.
Judge Klein Lauterbach.
Aye.
Judge John Hudson.
I wasn't there.
Well, you can, and if you want, just wait on that vote. If you have a problem with it later on, you can let us know.
That'll be fine. Mr. Stansel Ford and Mr. David Nemo.
Aye.
Approved by 4 members. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, legal report.
This is Attorney Allison Ratton with the legal report. There's one case on the legal report for September. It's case number 2016028731 against a case officer. Here, the complainant alleges the case officer will see that the probation is violated, so case officer can continue to receive fees, makes no accommodation for working people, and abuses her authority. Complainant stated his sister went to pay his court fees and discovered the case officer reported him for violating probation for failure to see case officer, despite complainant telling case officer that he worked a 12-hour day, yet case officer continues to add fees to his account. In her response, respondent case officer states the complainant was placed on supervised probation until fines, costs, and restitution were paid in full. Respondent also stated that complainant was in violation of probation rules, and violation was filed with the court on April 28, 2016, as he changed employment without reporting it to his case officer, has not paid fines, costs, or restitution, nor provided evidence of payment, had not reported to his case officer since January 15, 2016, and had not kept his probation fees current. Respondent further states the complainant had been sentenced to supervised probation before and is aware of the rules, and include the probation rules which was signed by complainant with her response. Therefore, legal recommends closing this complaint.
And this is Chairman Kraft. I see here history none. In other words, this probation company does not have a history of doing bad things or doing this to other people. Is that right?
That's correct.
When it says history none. All right. Any other questions? Do I hear a motion to adopt the recommendation of Ms. Ratton?
So moved. This is Judge Hudson.
I second the motion. This is Judge Lauterbach.
All right, any discussion? All right, call the roll on the vote, please.
Thank you. Judge Chris Kraft,
Aye.
Judge Klein Lauterbach, Judge John Hudson,
Aye.
Mr. Stansel Ford, Mr. David Nemo.
Aye.
All in agreement to accept the complaint and the motions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Director's report.
Thank you. Again, I want to thank everybody for being available to us. I'm the interim executive director for the board. Nicole's last day with the team and Commerce and Insurance was on July the 15th. She accepted a great opportunity back in her previous field, if you will, with appraiser, so she was very excited, and I regret that you all didn't get a chance to have a meeting where she could say her goodbyes. The team has been fantastic, doing everything and keeping all the boards current on things, so I'm excited to get to meet everyone, do our conference calls if that works out to be very productive, and I think for this board it's a good thing as well. So just to update the board on our numbers, this is as of June 30th of 2016. The budget, of course, for this council was $35,300. The total expenditures as of the end of our fiscal years were $36,058, just a slight increase from the actual budgeted, which is not a big difference at all. The revenue so that we closed with was $116,901. So we are definitely in the black, and that looked great. The estimated cost backs that were actually a part of these numbers are $5,434. Most of that is administration. The investigation pieces of the cost back was $9,350. And then to update all of our members on some numbers, we've got for licensing numbers as of August 31st of 2016, the board has 225 licensed private probation officers and a total of 38 private probation companies. And that is all that I have. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to try to respond to them.
This is Chairman Kraft. At one point, we had been thinking about trying to reduce our fee of $1 per quarter for probationer, but we started with a big deficit. And
Right.
then about 2 or 3 years ago, we suggested that, and the legislature basically asked us not to yet because money is tight. I don't know when, at some point, we need to look at, just committee discussion, look at reducing the $1 per patient per quarter, understanding that there are still budget issues with state Tennessee. And if any member wants to discuss that briefly, I just thought I'd throw that out as old business, basically.
Could I ask real quick? I'm sorry, I didn't. Who was this speaking?
This is Chris Kraft.
Mr. Kraft. Yes, Judge. So Judge Kraft, just to update you, because as I tried to become familiar with rules and laws and all that, that is one of the things that Dennis brought me up to speed on. And the proposed 0.75 cents as opposed to the dollar, is in the works. It is part of the rules that are floating, and as you more than anyone, even in this room, know, those things take some time, but they are on the spreadsheet that our legal department has. So they're going through the channels. We expect that they'll have no problem going through. So we're actually excited about that. And even though this isn't a huge dollar amount left over, it's really very nice considering that we finished the whole fiscal year at 36,000. So I think that reduction will go into effect and not impact the council to where you'll need to be concerned. That would be my take at this point.
So there's not any point at which we need to have a public hearing or anything on anything? I'm just
Not at this point. There will be later once it goes through the governor's office, Secretary of State, Attorney General, all those pieces. So once we get to that point, yes, the legal counsel will advise us. We have to post it with a certain number of days and all of that. We'll at that point make sure that everything's noticed properly.
all right.
So it's pending in somebody's office someplace.
Correct. But the good thing is,
Do that. Didn't we just have to go through all that process?
yes, and once if there's any changes, legal counsel now has a really good tracking system to stay on to make sure that it doesn't get lost in between places. So it will hopefully hit the point where we can notice it to the public fairly soon.
And that's going from $1 to 75 cents.
That is correct.
This is Allison Ratton. Currently, the item is in the Attorney General's office. It's already been routed through the Secretary of State's office, so it's on to the Attorney General.
Thank you.
It hasn't been filed with the Secretary of State yet.
Anything,
That's the
any other
last.
questions for the
Oh,
director?
it went to Attorney General, then Secretary of State. Okay.
I've got a question. This is David Nemo. What happens to the excess money? I know you said we were at a deficit for some number of years, but now that we have excess, what happens to that money?
So I can try based on my experience with other boards. You want to run an ongoing amount, and then you have that separate year-to-date fiscal. So for our year-to-date fiscal, we ended really well. It just kind of stays in the pool unless the legislators would have a reason to move the money. It is left alone so that, and that doesn't happen. It's left alone for each year in case we run into a year where expenses do go up. Then you're carrying that balance.
I don't think a legislature can take that money.
Well, I think they
Read
could
my
pass
thoughts.
I think they could pass a law that it goes into the general fund.
Right.
But you couldn't take it without passing legislation.
But only prospectively. I don't think they could do that for money that's already been accumulated. Those probation companies paid that, or somebody paid it, the probationer person or the probation company, and I don't think the legislature can appropriate that money for purposes other than what it was collected for.
Correct.
Well, I guess what I mean is the executive branch could.
I don't think anybody can take it because that's designated money that was paid to this agency. That would be inappropriate to take money from that's collected off of probation people and then use it for something else. Now, the legislature could pass a law and say prospectively that that money's a general fund pot, but I don't think they can do that.
Well, I hope we never have to find out in the course of time.
Correct. I'll pipe in and add that. You all would be kept abreast of anything like that. So,
15 years ago, the legislature rated every fund that was out there.
This is Stancil Forward. I happen to be a part of that.
Were you a raider?
I was in the General Assembly when that happened. That was under the Sundquist administration when we had that turned down in revenue, and in order to balance the budget, every fund was looked at, and any excess in any funds was taken. But I kind of agree with the chairman here on whether this would be legal for this particular one. But I do know that happens in cases where, when the state's in a bind, they'll look for any excess money anywhere and move it.
Yes, sir. Any other discussion or questions for the director? Thank you, ma'am. And if you get replaced, would you let us know as soon as possible?
absolutely. You have my word that we will call and definitely email all of you, and we should know here in the near future where the centralized boards, as we call them. But obviously, for you, your interest is in the Private Probation Services Council. We will keep you abreast, and hopefully, I'll be talking to you for the next meeting. I've got nothing else. If there are no other questions.
Thank you, ma'am. And just so the members know, I called 2 weeks before the meeting. I called Ms. Avers to try to figure out if we had business and things like that, and left a message, but I didn't realize that she had left. And so I just want to make sure that we know who's in charge in case we need to get in trouble. So thank you, Director.
My pleasure, and I apologize for that. Definitely do, but thank you so much.
And we're not on your phone either. That you have all the other ones you work for on your voice message, and you didn't mention us. That's okay. I'm changing it right now. Is there any new business any member wants to bring to the committee? It's to the council. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All right. Is there a second?
Second, David Nemo.
Would you call roll on the vote, please?
Absolutely. This is a motion to adjourn. Judge Chris Kraft.
Aye.
Judge Klein Lauterbach. Judge John Hudson.
Aye.
Judge Stansel Ford. I'm sorry, Mr. Stanford Ford. Mr. Stansel Ford? Okay, I couldn't hear you. Thank you. And Mr. David Nemo.
Aye.
All have agreed to the motion to adjourn. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and
Ep-
thank you for being there.
Thank you. Take care. Have a nice long weekend. Bye-bye.